For me, it was really hard because neither one of my parents had ever been to college. And so they, did their best to help, I guess, with whatever, needed to be done, but we didn't really know what that was. And coming from the small area, I don't think I had a lot of contact with my counselors. I didn't know really what they were there for as much. And I just remember, like, senior year being given, a FAFSA form, and I knew LMU was close by, and so that felt comfortable. I think I had a hard time thinking about going to a bigger school.
College was probably just the financial aid side of it, just trying to find the money, trying to support myself, and those sorts of things.
And how did you ever...
Going into college, I felt like I was a little unprepared, really learning how to study. I was very lucky or fortunate in high school. I didn't have to spend a lot of time on my classwork, so when I got to college and I realized that I was going to have to study if I wanted to succeed and to actually spend some time looking at a book, it was very difficult for me. So my first couple semesters I struggled, and I really had to learn how to devote the time required so that I could progress and make it through it.
I would say that for me personally, the biggest barrier was a confidence issue. I was always told that I was a big fish in a little pond at my high school, and that folks, I think they might have been trying to impart some sort of realism, but it became fear that I was going to be a big fish in a little pond. So I was very aware that I was going to university with kids who had a lot more advanced classes, a lot more college prep kind of classes, so I was pretty intimidated on how I would fare at a large university.
I would say that the number one barrier was our financial state as a family. I wasn't going to be able to go to college unless I had a baseball scholarship, which I did achieve, and that was able to get me in the door. Once you're in there, though, the scholarship doesn't cover books or food or any type of fun. So, of course, we had to work on campus, and trying to balance your job and everything like that gets pretty tough.
So I had about an hour drive to the campus and to clinicals. And another barrier, I worked at Subway. I worked nights. So I'd go home around 10, do homework, go to bed around 12, get up at 5 for clinicals and classes.
I was from a rural area, so access to the colleges was a barrier. The distance to get there, and I really didn't know how to navigate the process to get there. So those are kind of the two main barriers. And cost a little bit, was one as well.
How were you able...
Well, I live in Union County, so the barriers I had was transportation. I didn't have a car my whole first freshman year. And I also had a lot of problems with financial aid.
Not knowing what in the world to expect. Truly one of the first people in my house to get a college degree. My sister had gone to college for a few years, but then she quit going to college. But really not knowing anything about it.
My biggest barrier is just not having that home insurance, if you will. Like, I didn't have someone really looking after me a lot or motivating me or driving me or helping me, I would say.
The barriers I faced when going to college was financial aid. My estimated family contribution income was very high, so I didn't receive financial aid. Therefore, I was responsible for paying all of my tuition because my family didn't have the means to. So sometimes I had to pick up 2 jobs just to cover the cost of the tuition, but in the long run, it made me more motivated to get my degree and graduate.